So if you just started selling on Amazon, you will quickly come to realize how hard it is to keep consistent sales. And me personally, I do a lot of quick flips, so my items sell within the first 3 days I post them onto Amazon. But that means there's a lot of days where I wake up and I had 0 items sold. So to combat this and to keep constant inventory in Amazon was that either A, I'd buy more clothing items, take a little bit longer to sell, like shoes, so I can, beef up my daily sales, or I used credit. I am not a financial advisor. Take what I say with a grain of salt. Credit is a very powerful tool. If you have an LLC, business credit, it becomes even more powerful. So let me talk the difference about personal and business credit. Personal credit runs off of your own name. You take the fault, you take the liability if you cannot pay back a loan. Business credit, your business takes the liability, your business takes the fall if you cannot pay back a loan. Sometimes when you apply for credit cards under a business, they'll run your personal credit. Some credit card companies, they don't do that. They'll go based off your business pre-existing credit. There are plenty of people out there who have very shit personal credit, but their business credit is thriving. And that's a great leverage. Leveraging business credit, you're able to spend money on a bunch of items and then send that into Amazon, wait the 2 weeks for your payment, and still able to go shopping for things and still able to go out and buy things to keep up with inventory. And you don't have to wait for those 2-week payouts. Now, you can get really fucked over if you don't do credit right. There are cards specifically for what we do, spending money and waiting later to get that money back. Some cards have payment back periods where they don't charge you interest as long as you pay back your loan within a certain period. I'm going to show you a couple of examples of credit cards. You don't need to apply for these. You don't need a credit card to be successful on Amazon. When I started, it was just flipping the money I constantly had and just, eating the time. This way, it'll scale your business faster without having to wait so long for it. And that's the main thing too. You want scalability. You want to be able to go from $300 to $100K within the shortest period possible. So this is how you do it. You have to leverage credit. You have to get credit cards. You have to get loans. And this is a fast way. This is your way. This is your ticket. And once you're done paying those loans, you already have this mountain of cash that you already that you've already paid for. So, here are some cards. Not a financial advisor. Have to reiterate this for legal reasons. But let's look at some. If you're well established and you already have, really great sales and, you have a business, one thing too. Business. This is what the LLC is good for. This is a great perk of having this limited liability company. Business credit separate from personal credit. American Express. Now, American Express offers a couple of different cards. When looking for a card, I recommend something with either no annual fee or longer payback periods. American Express is something that, if you're well established and you're already making a crap ton of money and you just want to build credit, this is probably the route you want to go. Or if you've been established for a long time, I think I've already said that, I'm sorry. But, this is for more of experienced, you understand what you're doing. I wouldn't apply for this your first card, but this is definitely something you want to aim towards. Now, this American Express Business Gold card, a lot of my friends have it. I have it. It's really good for, how should I say, it's just, the perks you get with this card are uncomparable to other cards. You get 4 times the points on some categories, and you get the pay over time option. This is a great thing for leveraging, your money, because Amazon will hold your money for 2 weeks, and then the payment, like when they authorize your payment, it could take 5 business days. And I assume you guys already probably had this mind headache of a thing. American Express Business Gold Card, it gives you time. Now there are cards like this, and we'll discuss more things like this later on, but you get perks. Credit card perks are something you're going to need to use to your advantage. Credit card points, and there are a lot of other videos about credit cards and how to manipulate credit cards and how to get better credit cards. And some people will apply for a credit card, spend the 50, 10, $1,000 that you need up front, and then when they get their money back, they just downgrade the card so they don't pay an annual fee, and they'll still take all the points. That's a little credit card tip if you want to know one. I've done it once. Scariest thing in my life. If you're down for it, go for it. But like for example, a lot of people do Amazon FBA for credit building, or just getting the crap ton of points, and so they can have a vacation at the end of the year to wherever they want for free. So American Express is a great thing. They offer a crap ton of points. This one has 90,000 membership reward points. And it's great because if you, let's say you go to an airline and you be like, oh, I have points, or my flight is like $10 now. My first class flight's like $10 now. The points are really great. It's really easy to max out these cards on their spending stuff, their spending limits to, I'm sorry, hold on. I'm rambling. I need to focus. It's really easy to hit the minimum spending limit on these cards and get your reward. Just a little tidbit. For scaling your Amazon business and making the most money possible, you want a card that's going to have this pay over time option. Just letting you know. All right. So the points, they're great to have. There's something you could do. Spend $10,000 and you get 90K points. You get that 10K within like 3 weeks, So moving on, notice how these annual fees are pretty expensive. What I recommend for a card is not having to worry about this annual fee. But if you do get a card with annual fee, make sure the perks with it are relatively worth it. Like this one has 150K reward points if you spend 15,000. Obviously, spending your eligible purchase price isn't hard when you have something that is really good at eating your money, but is really good at making it back with profit. So there are this one is like 5 times faster route reward to travel. I don't know, like 1.5 times points on key businesses categories on eligible purchases. Up to $400 back per year towards U.S. purchases with Dell Technology. Terms apply. But you get cash back. Cash back are kind of like coupons. You get money back for it that you wouldn't have to spend later on. So that's a great thing. Cash back is pretty good. This card right here, it says $0 annual fee. Terms obviously apply. You got to really look into the fine print before getting a card. How is this card making money, and how is it going to eat you in your ass later on? So this card says $0 annual fee, and it also says 2% cash back on all eligible purchases, and it says up to 50K. Obviously, if you're not spending that much on a credit card, on an American Express card, probably stray away from American Express if you're not using it for bigger purchases and big budgets. But obviously, cash back on a card is kind of like a discount on stuff you're purchasing for. Always pay your cards on time. Always pay your cards in full. At the end of the month, make sure you have no remaining balance on your card. How these credit card companies are doing it is that they tell you, oh, just pay us, $50, and you're good for the month. No, that's not what you want to do. You want to pay your entire balance. Like, what's my entire balance on the card, and I'll pay that. So make sure you have that, noted. Because if you have a balance on your card, it ruins your credit. And we're thinking about credit, We don't want to ruin it, all right? Especially if you're just starting out. So make sure you pay it off in full at the end of the month, all right? That's all I could say. Card paid full. Don't carry a balance on these cards. The interest will kill you, okay? If you have $140,000 spent on a card and you just pay the minimum balance, the interest next month is going to be like $170,000, maybe $200K on a card when you only used it to leverage $140K. You know, don't carry a balance. The interest will kill you. Note that. Eat it, live it, sleep it, breathe it. Don't carry a balance on a card. And moving on, this is just the American Express. There are, anything Amex. Amex is American Express. Anything Amex is generally pretty good. Once again, kind of depends on what you want from a card, what you're looking at from a card. But this is, just look at it. If you want to use, your Amazon account for getting credit card points and earning cash back, look at cards with better benefits, lower annual fee, higher annual fees maybe. If you're just looking for a card that to leverage points on, anything 0 annual fee, unless you have actually some big margins to play with. Now, this is the card I would recommend to any beginner. The Discover It card. The benefits are shit. The points are shit if you get any. The annual fee is $0. Perfect. Now, depends on the Discover It card. I think there's some different varieties. But this is great. It's very easy to apply. However, something that can nip you in the ass is if you don't make your money back. Let's say you buy something that takes a while to sell. You're more likely to carry a balance with this card because it doesn't offer extended paying periods with no interest. Interest rates are high, but it is a risk you're willing to take to build credit. This is a very good entry card if you want to start something. So, once again, don't carry a balance on your card. The interest rate will kill you. If you pay it off in full at the end of the month, that's what you want. Now, don't go applying for credit cards right away. Let's see how well you're good at sourcing products and having those products sell genuinely pretty fast. So, moving on, I'm not going to say too much on American Express. Not American, Discover card, but you get pretty good, sometimes you get pretty good stuff from it. The cashback match is, I don't use Discover, but from what I've heard, it's, the cashback match is a lot of terms that apply to it, but it's pretty good. It says low APR, but notice how it says 11% to 22%. Yeah, that's pretty high. For me, it is anyways. I want to look for something closer to like 8 to 10. But, depending on your credit, depending on your background, you can get a Discover It card without an LLC. I'd recommend you do use an LLC. Just a recommendation, not financial advice. But just start looking into credit cards. Look into credit cards that have payment periods. Now, I'm not saying a payment plan. I'm saying payment periods. You have a certain set of time to pay back this card with no interest in full. There is one card, I can't remember the name of it, but if you just Google 90-day payback card, there's a card out there. It's really hard to get, but if you do get it, you get 90 days to pay this card in full, right? And no interest is applied. Now, usually how credit cards work is that you pay it at the end of the month, and then if you don't pay it, they charge you an interest on it, and that ruins your credit. Now, this card, it gives you 90 days. It's like the end of the month payment, but way later. So I recommend something like that. If you can find a card with longer payback periods, but remember, you got to pay it in full because the interest will kill you if you don't pay it. If you can find a card like that, I would recommend you get that card. Even if there's an annual fee on it and there's little points, you get a longer period of time to pay this card. Just a recommendation, not financial advice. The Chase Freedom Flex This is a gold card. This is amazing. I love this card. It was my first card. I loved it. It's great. I recommend it. If you're a good established seller, you have some things to do. You're really easy to pay back your card balance in full. Maybe just apply. All right. It's so worth having. I loved it. I have no complaints about this card. I personally don't. There is no. 10 thumbs up. I recommend it. It's great. I love it. I still use it from time to time. So it's not bad. 0 annual fees. 0 APR for 15 months from the account opening. That's pretty great. Obviously, pay your balance in full. Pay your balance in full, people. And then I want to say it's not advertised here, but I think when I called, you can get like extended periods for paying things off. And when I meant pay things off, pay back in full. So Chase themselves are very easy to work with from what I found. I don't know your opinion. This is my opinion. The cashback is great. The bonuses are great. Now for this card, you got to read the terms. You got to see if it's going to work for you. You got to see if anything's for any of these cards, really. You just got to see if they work for you. Credit cards are a very touchy subject because they're leveraging credit that you do not have. While on the topic of leveraging stuff, loans, if you become a more established seller and you have a trail of money and that you're making profits, you could go to a bank. I don't know what bank you have, but you can go to a bank and you can be like, all right, here's my documentation that I buy things, I sell it for money, and here's my profit margins. A bank may be willing to offer you a loan based on your transaction history. A bank may even offer you a profit sharing loan. A profit sharing loan is something really great. I've been offered a profit sharing loan. I didn't take it. I wish I did. But profit sharing loan, what it does is that the bank goes up to you and you're like, all right, I like your sales. I'm going to give you, let's say I'm going to give you 10K, and whatever profit you make off the 10K, you're going to give it to me with the 10K back. Or you're going to give me part of that profit, and then you could keep holding 10K until you pay my profit back. Until you're able to pay me back in profits, I'm sorry. Now, it's a loan that's not based on time and not based on when they get paid back. You just pay them back whenever you actually make the money from it, and you're able to pay them part of your profit. It's pretty great. I like it. It's a very long-term loan if you're not making, double your money very fast. But it's something to look into if you're interested and if you have established selling credentials. Another thing to look into is how you are as a person with credit. Do you already own credit cards? Are you carrying balances on those credit cards? If you are, I'm sorry to say this, but you need to fix that. Carrying a balance on a credit card can really ruin your credit. Can really ruin you financially. When it comes to Amazon and you're trying to scale faster and be the best seller you can be, credit is king. Capital is king. Capital is cash. And just look into when you get a loan or when you get a credit card, make sure you're using it for its intended purpose and nothing more. Don't be using that same credit card to go buy yourself a fancy dinner, to go buy yourself clothes, because it's really easy to rack up a lot of debt with these cards. Be very careful. Lock your cards up in a safe if you have to. Leveraging credit with Amazon is risky, but it's a great way to scale fast. Look more into what kind of credit cards you want as a seller.